In the past 50 years, tons of women in America have had this crazy level of freedom and legal protection that no one really talks about. It's not even because of Roe v. Wade or those anti-discrimination laws, but because of something way less hyped: no-fault divorce. So, in the early 70s, this thing came along that let millions of people, mostly women, just file for divorce without having to prove that their spouse did something really messed up, like cheating, being abusive, or any of that awful stuff. But check it out, there's this whole thing going on with conservative politicians in states like Texas and Louisiana, and even this super devout Catholic husband in Nebraska who is totally against no-fault divorce. It's like they're attacking it. And get this, the Texas Republican Party, in their 2022 platform, straight up wants to get rid of no-fault divorce laws and push for this thing called covenant marriage. And since the Republicans are running the show over there, with the governor, secretary of state, attorney general, and both chambers of the state legislature in their hands, there's a legit chance that Texas might actually make it happen. Crazy, right? Marriage is a legal contract. No-fault divorce means either party can violate the contract with zero repercussions. While ostensibly beneficial to both parties, the fact that women represent 98% of people receiving alimony reveals the real motivation behind the rule. As a result, marriage is a joke and a complete waste of time. Your wife can swear loyalty until death, cheat on you with impunity, and still take you for half your stuff, regardless of what she brought to the relationship. Theoretically, abolishing no-fault divorce could be a good idea, assuming that courts could efficiently make good decisions about who is at fault. If they are going to say, for example, it can't be proven who is at fault, or, well, she cheated, but that's not a big enough deal to say that she's at fault for the marriage's breakup, then it wouldn't work. The whole point of marriage is that it's a binding commitment, so that you have an incentive to invest in the relationship, since your partner is just as bound to it as you are. A no-fault divorce system defeats this goal. Why bother to be faithful and loyal to your partner if they can cheat on you and divorce you at any time and walk away with half the marital assets? If, on the other hand, breaking their marital vows will result in them losing their income, assets, and kids, then they'll have a reason to behave. You can then more confidently invest in making them happy, knowing it will be more likely to pay off over many years. They will treat you well in return for your treating them well, because they have to. Not only do you have the promise of a reward, giving you an incentive to be a good spouse, but you also have the threat of punishment if you are the cause of the marriage's breaking down. People say that we need no-fault divorce, because otherwise people will be forced to stay in miserable marriages. What is it that makes marriages miserable, though, to the point that people want to break up? Isn't it that they have no incentive to please their partner, since either of them can always divorce and walk away without major consequences, and therefore they make their partner miserable? Get rid of the perverse incentives created by no-fault divorce, and marriages won't so often become miserable to the point that they need to be dissolved. There are often three alternatives. 1. Stay in a miserable marriage. 2. Dissolve a miserable marriage. Or 3. Keep the marriage from becoming miserable to begin with, or fix the marriage. Devising a system that encourages alternative 3 over 2 might be more important than encouraging alternative 2 over 1. Personally, I don't think no-fault divorce should be abolished. I think it should be reformed. As much as I don't like no-fault divorce, I don't think it should be entirely abolished. Sometimes divorce just has to happen for the sake of everybody involved, including the children. However, no-fault divorce has serious problems. I'll talk about some of them today. The first one is that children have no say in whether their parents should divorce or not. This makes me angry on a personal level. My friend's parents were contemplating getting divorced when he was 18, and it made him so freaking mad. He was at a low point in his life, and he needed all the support he could get from his parents. Did they love and support him as much as they could? No. They just kept screaming back and forth at each other and ignoring the needs of their children, like the narcissistic assholes that they were. Some kids are perfectly fine with their parents getting divorced, and some of them have a point, which is why I don't think no-fault divorce should be abolished entirely. The laws behind no-fault divorce need to change so that parents can't be deadbeats and get a divorce just so they can bail on their kids and abandon their responsibilities. I think you'll need to grab a pen and paper for this one. Number 1. Constitutionality. Everyone has a right to a fair trial and not to be coerced into agreeing to anything that they wouldn't. The way no-fault divorce works today is one spouse petitions for divorce, gets hold of court papers, and then the other spouse generally has to sign the divorce papers. This is essentially blackmail, and the other spouse generally has no say in what the final outcome is. Even if one spouse doesn't want a divorce and objects to it, the judge will still grant it anyway. This is wrong, and needs to change to make the system fairer for men, women and children who either and or don't want a divorce. Number 2. Corruption and capitalism. We all know how notoriously corrupt family courts are. The system of getting a divorce is unequal and is exploited for profit. Lawyers make tons of money off of processing divorce cases. The more people get divorced, the more money they make. People make a profit off of splitting up families, whether someone within those families, often the children, would rather not have it happen, which ties into the issue of children having no say. There needs to be more transparency in the system, and children should have a say in being able to convince their parents not to divorce, so children who don't want that to happen to their parents don't suffer emotional scars, in addition to dealing with corruption in the system. Should no-fault divorce be abolished? No. But there needs to be major changes so that no one is hurt by divorces that don't have to happen. No-fault divorce should not be abolished. Instead, we need to remove divorce incentives from the divorce process. No more alimony, child support, and community property. If you remove the profit incentive from divorce, you will find people will try to maintain their marriages, and a lot of sham marriages will never take place. Anyway, that's all for today on Manhood. Let me hear your own opinion in the comments. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time. Cheers!